All right, folks, greetings and salutations. Thanks for being here. One of the reasons why I signed up to be the moderator of this session, because I have such admiration for these folks. It's going to be a blast. I think you'll have a great time. The changing world of GIS. So what's not to love about that title? That is awesome. So we've got Bill here. You met Bill yesterday. Bill Johnson, right, Bill? That was really inspiring. I loved your lunchtime presentation, or whenever that was. I'm starting to lose track of what day it was. It was in the morning. Anyway, it was great. And then John Cox here from Sanborn. And then we've got Christian Ujoa. So thanks, folks, for being here. Much appreciated. Again, I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be great. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here. As Joseph was saying, who we are. So my name is Christian Ujoa. I'm the manager of operations for Charlotte, for Sanborn. I've been in this industry for about 30 years. And after watching Bill's presentation on the keynote speech, I was actually inspired to show you guys a personal picture of when I was young, kind of like he had on there. So let me show you guys. This is the company I started working for when I started in mapping. This is back around maybe 89, 90. So it was a family business for me. These are all compilation stations, old school compilation stations with mechanical parts, not something that you see virtual with an emitter on it. It's very different the way that's done. And you can see I'm right here. And I've got family here as well. I've got 3 brothers that also work with me in this company. My wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, who's right here. So we've been married for 24 years now. And I got my father, my brother, and another brother in there. So basically, photogrammetry is a way of life for me. I just grew up in it. All right, so now after here, let me give you guys a little bit of insight of what we have as far as Sanborn and AppGeo. We have over 165 staff and certified professionals. We have 12 aircraft and 12 sensors, 4 each one of the aircraft. We also have drones and boats, cover the entire continental United States, and we've also done work overseas, international. And we have a 159-year history of experience. Sanborn is one of the oldest companies around that does photogrammetry work. And our staff includes program management professionals, certified photogrammetrists, professional land surveyors, certified mapping scientists. We have various Esri certifications. We have Google Maps and Cloud Technician certifications, Google Location-Based Solutions, and Earth Engine Specialization. And also we have HERE Technology certifications. And obviously, when you have a network like this, you have to have Microsoft and Cisco certifications as well to run the company. So we're here to talk about the changing world of GIS. Now, when one hears the phrase, the changing world of GIS, there's a tendency to conflate change with changes in technology such as cloud software, cloud services, sensor hardware, etc. But as a GIS professional and long-time observer of the GIS industry, we've observed another type of change that has been occurring all around us over the past few years, and we would like to explore that with you today. The change I'm talking about is the creation of new types of GIS consulting firms through mergers, acquisitions, and strategic partnerships. Why is this happening? And what does it mean for you, the GIS practitioner and consumer of GIS consulting services? So here are some, we were lucky enough to get a video of our CEO, John Koppel, and here's some insights from him explaining his thoughts behind the acquisition of AppGeo and why he thinks it's important in the changing world of GIS.
John, you've seen a lot of things in your career, and I'd like to hear your thoughts about this moment that we find ourselves in right now. And perhaps related to that, I'm sure you've been thinking strategically when you made a decision to acquire AppGeo. So maybe you could share some of your insights that led to the decision to proceed with that acquisition. John?
Thanks, Bill. To follow on to what you were saying, when we look at the markets in a very broad sense from the perspective of most of the vendors, you have a civil government market and then include state, county, cities, and then you have a defense and intelligence market, and then you have a commercial market, and then you have an international market. So when we start talking about the civil side market, including states, counties, cities, I've never seen, to follow what you were saying, I've never seen the kind of funding come to fruition as we've seen with these last two acts that have been passed. Just huge amounts of money. Now that said, geospatial isn't called out as in a line item in most of the language. There's a few. EPA got $40 million for a GIS system and some things like that, but that amount of funding is just huge. And to further your point, most of it is related to has a relationship to geospatial activities. Although they're not called out, they are a foundation for a lot of the goals of those acts. And it's going to take a lot of collaboration with multiple entities to go after that funding. A ton of that funding is grant related. In the Inflation Reduction Act, there's about $80 billion of grant money. The actual federal agency money is relatively small. It's only about $13 billion. There's over $100 billion of loans and grants. And then the rest of it is what I would call a rebate program if you want to go buy an electric car or do something like that. It's for corporations and people to give them an incentive to move to a greener environment, so to speak. But the amount of money that is out there is unprecedented. So that is a forerunner to the decision to procure AppGeo. The acquisition of AppGeo was ongoing, but the high level thoughts are we wanted a complete end-to-end geospatial services company focused on geospatial, not focused on some other market, but focused on the geospatial market and a company that could do anything, right, related to geospatial. Whether you wanted consulting or 3D models or LiDAR, whatever it is, we wanted the ability to respond and provide those services. And with the acquisition of AppGeo, the opportunities are amazing that we've seen just in the first 90 days of working together. And, we're looking forward to what that means in the future.
All right. We also have a short video from the COO of AppGeo, who is now part of Sanborn, Kate Hickey, giving her insights.
John, you've seen a lot of things in your career.
Next one. Here we go.
I'm going to shift to Kate now. Kate, you've been involved in state. Shift to Kate now. Kate, you've been involved in planning and development for about 15 years now. Planning and development for complex statewide applications and enterprise data systems. I really don't think there's anyone else that's worked more of these kinds of state level projects than you. So I'm curious, what are some of the big changes you've seen in the way states are thinking about their strategies, about their programs, and how they're creating and supporting enterprise class GIS resources? So what changes are you seeing recently about that?
Yeah. Well, a strategic
Let me turn the volume up here.
plan has always been the best way to identify gaps.
Sorry, she's really
Those
on there.
might be data gaps, they might be technological gaps, or those, coordination infrastructure gaps, what you were talking about earlier, those that network of collaborative relationships that a GIO might have with other agencies. So that infrastructure, the human infrastructure there. So there might be gaps in those relationships there. But a GIO can use a strategic plan to identify those gaps and really close them early. And then they're in a position where they're prepared to respond to challenges, maybe, challenges like we saw in the pandemic, or take advantage of some of this funding, these funding opportunities that are out there, and really affect change in their state and at the national level too. So the strategic plan has always acted as a foundation, and it's very hard to act or respond efficiently without that plan in place. So you ask, what's different today? And I would say that the major difference, or the evolution that I've seen, is this universal recognition that success is not just about the data or technology. I think everyone is recognizing that the most successful states out there are the ones where the Geographic Information Office is working side by side, collaborating with those agencies, and they're identifying and working towards common goals. So, for example, aligning and collaborating with the DOT or a broadband office, it really puts that GIO in a position where they can capture that available funding, in partnership there. So I think, as you pointed out earlier, that funding might appear like it's aimed at a particular use case. Like, well, this is aimed at broadband. What does this have to do with the GIO? Or it might be aimed at a particular agency. But what it results in is that statewide geospatial data or other geospatial asset that benefits everyone, benefits many across the board there. So, for example, like a broadband serviceable location data set, it certainly meets those needs for identifying addresses and locations for broadband, but then it's clearly relevant for 911 or for powering a state geocoder or for lots of other use cases that need addresses. So really, what I see is the shift toward prioritizing those relationships, prioritizing that collaboration infrastructure, and that begins to make a lot of sense.
Yeah, thanks. While you were talking, you reminded me of a quote from Louis Pasteur that luck favors the prepared. So, I think that's a lot about what strategic planning does for you. I'm curious to know what some of the synergies you're excited about with this new combination of AppGeo and Sanborn for our state clients.
Yeah. Well, we're really excited to be joining forces with, as John pointed out, another geospatial company. So while we're both, purely in the geospatial realm, we're very, very complementary. It's been kind of amazing as we've learned more about each other. There's almost no overlap in what we've done. So the new larger combined entity gives us a holistic perspective on some of the problems that our customers are trying to solve. So for example, AppGeo is always focused on building tools to improve delivery of data or visualization of data, analysis of data, helping our customers make their data meaningful. But historically, we haven't been involved in the data acquisition or the capture piece. It was sort of like we were the receivers of that data. But now, in partnership with Sanborn, as John pointed out, we're covering that whole life cycle, from the strategy to the data acquisition to the delivery and analysis. And it just feels like the whole geospatial landscape has just opened wide up. It's really exciting.
So with the acquisition of AppGeo, we now offer comprehensive geospatial services with technical depth, including data analytics, application development, geospatial IT consulting, systems integration, and more. With this advanced partnership base, we encompass a wide range of resources. Each firm brings a unique expertise into the relationship, creating even more flexibility for our customers to find and combine the right technologies tailored to their needs. Now, we are Esri customer number 125, and Sanborn plus AppGeo offers value-added reselling, certified professionals, and customer support for all these cloud solutions, mapping platforms, data resources, and content programs. John, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, a lot happened with this merger. I can considering the technical change while driving innovation. Combining our software engineers, developers, data scientists, we strengthen our ability to develop our own software as a service solution. This improved our analytical processes and advanced technologies, such as artificial intelligence and machine learning, to adopt innovative solutions, such as sonar, topo, and bathymetry.
And that on the left is Kate Hickey, who you put us
Sure.
in the video.
Yes.
That was her. Our combined staff includes customer support services, a managed services program, spatial IQ, account-based management for licensed products, ongoing technical support for customer project teams, and more. Spatial IQ is a managed service program that was built by AppGeo that builds organizational capacity to use geospatial platform technologies and location intelligence with more efficiency. We have extensive experience and knowledge in the geospatial aspects of agricultural, environmental, energy, governmental, transportation, utilities, broadband, public safety, many other fields, as well as specialization in organizational strategies, cost-benefit analysis, policy analysis, funding strategies, and program management. So here's an example of the many types of projects we're involved in. For the city of Cincinnati, Ohio, we worked to produce a complete urban tree canopy analysis to improve land cover mapping. Their key questions were if and where tree canopy was being gained or lost, and the location and the extent of the impervious surfaces. Protecting and enhancing the urban tree canopy is an important factor in addressing climate change, heat stress, surface water management, green infrastructure, and environmental justice. We collected QL1 level leaf-on LiDAR data. The project created 7 land-covered data classifications, including impervious surfaces, tree canopy, grass, shrub, bare soil, water, buildings, roads, railroads, and other paved areas such as driveways and courtyards that allowed the client to measure and confirm change and support its planning processes. That included adding 258 new planned tree planting sites, so that was kind of a win. The road ahead is coming up. The changing world of GIS, you've probably noticed announcements of various mergers and acquisitions in our industry over the past few years. We believe this trend will continue, if not accelerate. You probably also noticed that not all newly combined firms are alike. Some simply got larger, but did not expand their capabilities or their offerings. In other cases, smaller GIS firms were disappeared inside of a larger non-GIS focused company. By combining 2 firms with a total of more than 185 years experience in the mapping industry, we broadened our capabilities and offerings, expanded our strategic relationships, and deepened our technical expertise, all focused on the geospatial. We're a little bit biased, but we believe that Sanborn plus AppGeo got this recipe exactly right. There's the road ahead. Looking ahead, we believe that customers will benefit from the changing world of GIS. Governments and businesses will have access to firms that can help them tackle the complex problems efficiently and comprehensively, combining technical and subject matter expertise. GIS managers can choose from, combine, and work with a wider range of technology approaches. And GIS leaders can design sustainable geospatial programs with strategies and ROI backed up with experience, guidance, and technical support. And that is it. Do you have any questions or comments? We'd love to hear them.